Thanks for coming on, Brian. Officer Barge.
Happy to be here, man.
So, what do you do now? What's your job?
Yeah, so my official job title is Digital Marketing Specialist. I work for a company called Infineon Technologies. So Infineon Technologies is they make semiconductors, which are the microchips that just power everything. Very important. So within that, there is a subsidiary called International Rectifier High Reliability, IR High Rail for short, where Infineon has 45,000 employees or more. It's based in Germany, worldwide. So my subsidiary is really small. It's 200, 300 people. But Infineon has great marketing. There's so many different regions because there's so much the company's doing. Within mine, it falls under the high reliability, which is resistant to radiation, basically. So we make the semiconductors and the power, transistors that go in all kinds of space missions, basically any space mission. So as a digital marketing specialist in the company, I do two main things, I guess I would narrow down to. The first is the more boring of the two, but it's still really interesting and there's so many cool aspects to it, is managing the website. All these different big clients. Our clients we're not a B2C, it's all B2B marketing. So we focus on the customers we have, which are NASA, Boeing, ESA. We have ones with JAXA, the Japanese.
Yeah, it's the NASA of Japan.
Of Japan, yeah. Those are honestly the three main: ESA, JAXA, and obviously NASA.
Wow,
So with them, my relation is purely website related, and we run marketing campaigns, we do email marketing, but now we've just moved from our old website to a new website. So our old website was just we only had a few pages on Google Analytics, where now we have all this already set up things on the website. I don't know if you know Tableau. It's you just can track your customers and see what they're doing and how long they're on the site and exactly what they're doing. It breaks it down. That just happened 2 months ago. I've been there for about a year and a half now. So that's one side of it. The other side of it, which is I call the fun side. Like I was telling you, we have so many cool missions in really important things that we're doing that our engineers they work on the parts, but only the marketing and salespeople are really the ones who know what's happening with them. And so not even just within the couple hundred people within IR High Rail, but of the greater Infineon 45,000, our job is to kind of tell the story of what our division's doing. So I make videos about the James Webb Space Telescope is an example, one we just did. We have thousands of parts in that, and my job is to do research and work with the sales team who worked with outsourced companies of getting them our product and find out where our products are, and just make a video, even just using Adobe Premiere, of just here's where it is and this is what it's going, here's about the mission.
Wow.
So it's that, and writing articles, and this is all internal because it's such a 50,000. We do have some external stuff, but within the digital marketing role I have is more of the internal stuff. It's really, it's cool to be able to tell the stories that these people need to know, stuff that I hope this is what I like to brag about to my family. I'm sure they want to tell their kids what their work is important. These are to be used on the website, which is the external website. So for our customers to see, and then for trade shows, a big part of my role too is trade shows.
Trade shows are the ones that you're kind of advertising your company to other companies.
Exactly. So that's
the B2B.
Exactly. So that's where it comes through. And I haven't been to a trade show yet, but I've probably been the event coordinator for, I'd say, about 6 of them. And there's a big difference. So you got your ones that are here in the US, and those are so chill because shipping is just, here's where you ship it and here's the address. There's no export control from within our company because there's no government regulation with it just going from here to freaking Utah. Whereas I've had to have shows in Germany where I feel so bad because we paid thousands of dollars to get people there. We have to do this whole song and dance with customs. They already have their own parts. We have businesses wherever the trade show is, basically. It's a German company. So we had a trade show in Munich, and I sent them a tablecloth, some pop-up banners. It got stuck in customs for 3 weeks, and it missed the show. I'm getting on and trying to call customs, and just it was just so much of a nightmare. And now, because of those situations, I'm what I did was I just said, you know what, we have it in our budget. I'm buying a whole new set of stuff, and we're going to have US stuff and the German stuff. So if anything, if there's another show, say it's in Venice or something, you're sending it from Germany. I'm not, your customs are way more chill.
Is there not a bunch of German staff though?
There is, but IR High Rail, our subsidiary, is US based. If we're going to a show in Germany, we're basically visiting. Within my company, I have maybe 50 of the 300 people that work for IR High Rail live in abroad. But within that 50, a lot of them are engineers, so they're not going to handle this stuff. This isn't their job. When I started as an intern, so it's being able to grow in your role. Started as an intern, and even when I first started, I had such imposter syndrome. I don't know about you in your industry, but it's, you get there And I had no like video making experience. I had very, we wrote a lot in college, but like I didn't, have like,
Just essay.
it was like not content writing. It was weird. So like learning to do that and to where I am now and just like how much I remember, because, I didn't study marketing at all in college. I did history and sociology. So by the time I got to this, like I did internships of digital marketing to get like some experience, but there's so much they teach you about marketing that I never got. And when I graduated, knowing the industry I wanted to be in and having some internship background, I just did like online HubSpot courses, and I took like a Long Beach State, pay like a few $100 online courses, and just to kind of get basic knowledge of the topics. And I remember like being there and learning about those topics and just being like, this is all so much to take in. But now that I'm in my role, all that seems so foreign. They just were like, words that I understand is like how every week I'm like using these things of like, oh, it's cool. It's really fun to like develop in a role.
I didn't know you had done like that stuff. Like, can I get like a timeline of it? So college is happening. You're graduating.
Yep.
How did you get to your job from there?
In the last 3 months of college, I had another job, completely different industry, same role. So it was a digital marketing specialist role, but it was for the company I'd interned the summer before senior year. So that company was a hospital. Yeah, so I was gonna do the full medical, which was like, it was fine. It was a good hospital, and I really liked the staff and stuff. So we did some cool stuff there, but it was just so weird because I like 100% thought that was the route I was gonna take. Like I knew, I was excited about it, and then COVID-19, they called me up in, we graduated in June. They called me in like April, and we're like, hey, they canceled your role basically because like other people got laid off too. So it wasn't, they said like your role got axed. So that was hard. That was.
Thought you had something.
It was just like having the job, like graduating college and having into a role would have been so nice. And that's like what it was supposed to be, but things don't work out that way. But so after the hospital thing fell through, nowhere was hiring. If anything, places were downsizing. Like we had no roles. All internships were basically canceled. So many of our friends had the same story of like, I have at least an internship lined up after. So many people were just flat on their feet. You have nothing to do but stay home. Or I was looking to get a restaurant job. That's where I had worked before. Like I had doing internships, and nope, none of them were hiring. So I got on some of the COVID cheese, like the EDD checks and stuff. I was able, to get by with that. And I had worked 2 jobs in college, so I had pretty good savings and stuff. So I managed to be fine. But I lived for a year at home, lucky to have a situation that I have. My parents are, very happy to have me. So I was very happy to, granted the situation. I just lived away for 4 years and had no real job lined up. It was, I kind of had no other option. Just ran with that for a year, and the entire time, I'd say over the course of the year, I applied to 250 jobs before anything. So in that whole, it's a full 12 months. So I'd say about 2 months into it, I was like, this feels weird. Like, I'm like, I'm not on summer. Like, I'm like, need to do something. So like on top of like just applying to jobs is like, I'm going to find ways to build my resume. So the first thing I did was I called up my old manager at the PIH Health, the hospital, the internship, and just said, give me something to do. Like, I want to help you out with a project or anything. I don't have to pay me. I just want to like something I can put like an hour a day into. And she just said, like, we're redoing our website. Just like, can you like, I'm going to send you a list of pages, just like help find like stock image, just things like that, just simple tasks. Yeah. So I just did that. I think unpaid internships are the absolute worst, but in that situation, I was just looking for anything. But so that helped a lot. And then I took on another internship, which like they labeled as an internship, but this one was just an unpaid. And it was for a real estate agent based in Long Beach, and she was such a wonderful lady, just so nice, so friendly. I'd say I put in like 5-6 hours of work a week, so it wasn't extensive.
Oh, per week.
But my job was to like build her a website.
So it was like a tall task.
And granted, it's using like Wix. I don't know if you know Wix.
I know
so
Wix.
It's not hard. Like this is not. There's no coding. There's none of that. Like it's all just like design and PowerPoint. Exactly. Just different layouts and. She'd tell me what she want, and I'd go try to make it with the layouts. And so just that, we had like an internship program. So there were other interns doing like social media and creating videos and stuff. And we would talk and meet. It was a nice experience. But, I did unpaid internships in college, so I didn't have to do unpaid internship. Like I felt like my skill set was like, You know,
You just have a degree.
like, yeah, you say it at the end of the month, that's still 24 plus, sometimes it was more, like, hours of work I'm doing for you, and, like, I don't even get, like, free lunch, you know? Like, it's nothing. It was hard, but, I mean, ultimately, you know, I would do waves. I would apply to all these jobs, and I had a few interviews, ghosted on all of them, like,
Damn.
but, you know, I mean, I just kept trying to work on my interview skills, kept trying to work on my resume. Finally, you know, I got the internship with Infineon. My manager, our first interview went really well. She was actually a UCSB alumni too, and
Oh, wow.
so I found that out through LinkedIn. And in the first interview, I like brought it up to her thinking she'd be like, yeah. She just totally was not.
She didn't care.
She didn't care at all. She was like, cool.
What?
Because she only did like a year master's there.
Oh,
She went to, she's Berkeley,
that's
which I found out, but
totally different.
I know, so I didn't know that because like in her thing it says like, you know, she attended UC Santa Barbara, so I was
about to
like,
be what the fuck is wrong with this person?
I-
She went 4 years and wouldn't say
she never even lived in IV. She just commuted,
that's
so
not even- yeah.
that's why. But like
That's
going into the
why.
interview, you should imagine like I'm banking on this connection, like
Yeah,
this is
I was
awesome.
like, that's
She just
like-
shut it down, but you know it is what it is. But
You still got it. Though.
have a few more interviews, and then it all comes together. She said, you know, I need like to see your work samples. Like, so instead of just sending work samples, I was like, well, this job is, you know, the way the internship was first advertised was a lot of the website. So I just went onto Wix and put my unpaid internship knowledge and skills to the test, and just built like a whole thing with like different papers I've written and social media posts I've worked on and Google Analytics from my other internships, and kind of threw everything together, and yeah, I got it. And it was like, that was a good day.
And that led to your current job.
So I worked as an intern for from June to January, so about 6-7 months, and then they brought me on. So they like created, because basically within IR Hirel, the marketing department, the digital marketing department is myself and my manager. She needed some help. I mean, I'm currently this last week have been interviewing for interns because like we need help, dude. Like there's so much to do. It's coming, like, this has been a really weird week because I now am on the other side of it. You know, I'm like, these people are coming out of college or they're juniors in college, and like, I know what it's like to go in, and so when they're nervous or, you know, I tried to be, flies down. I tried to be, I tried to be as friendly and like, you know, not feel like there's like a stick up my ass when I'm interviewing them, you know? Like I've been in that situation where like you're interviewing, and honestly, my manager is not an intense person, but as an interviewer, she's like kind of intense. So I felt like, well, she's going to be bad cop and like, I want to be good cop. So, you know, I try to ask them like, you know, talk about other stuff. Like, what do you want? Like, what do you like to do for fun? How do you de-stress?
You shotgun, man.
Yeah, exactly. You toss? And then I get nervous now to like do the interviews. Yeah, like I'm all prepared to like interview someone, which is like weird to me. But
that's crazy. I feel like this is kind of like a similar thing too.
Mhm.
Like that's the idea of my show,
Mhm.
is that like you just went through it.
Right.
So people hopefully watching at least can like be informed by like our conversation even now.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. And
So that's the idea, you know?
right. And I would advise people, if you're just out of college, to just, you know, keep trying. I know a lot of people who've applied, so like myself, you know, just you keep applying. And the hard part is too, is like, you know, we were talking before this about like passions and like industries you want to get into, and yours is amazing. And you're fortunate with your connection to have like cool industry. Whereas, you know, myself was kind of like, it was, you work with what you got. And honestly, I feel super lucky myself because I applied to some internships that like, if those were the ones that had landed instead of this one, I would have been so much more unhappy. You know, like I was applying to like oil companies, but like weird, like mortgage loans. I thought I didn't care about semiconductors when I started, but since I've come to learn like what it is and how important it is, like it's very important to me now. But it's like, you know, I could have ended up literally, one of the interviews I got was for a mortgage loans lady. It was like a per diem, like I just want to make some money, $25 an hour. No, like she was paying me under the table. She just was off though. Like in the interview, she was telling me about her daughter that went to UCSB. So like she really liked me off the get-go. I was just so desperate and so happy to have like an interviewer be enthusiastic about me, and just so she gave me the job. She just like, something was off. Something was not right.
I actually worked this job.
So tell everybody I got a job and I'm super hype on it. And then I call my old manager, the one who I went to get some projects for, and I said, hey, here's the gig, like, and she's like, I'm just gonna be straight with you, like, mortgage loan people are like pretty shady, like, because I didn't know anything about this. I just was like looking for a job, and she's like, just make sure like this seems like a gig, but it doesn't seem like, even though I know you're desperate, like you'd be better off like working on other stuff than like this. This
That's
does.
crazy.
This seems like
told you that.
she's like, this lady might be trying to just take advantage of like a young like recent college graduate, like with the current situation. So I looked more into it, and I looked into like more about like her reputation as a mortgage loaner, and just found all these like reviews online of people complaining about her and how she's taking advantage of needy people, and then learning about like how she's deleting people's comments. I'm like, this lady probably wants to hire me to come like regulate her reputation online. And I'm like, that's like the last thing I want to do. So, even if you're desperate, you can find something that's, maybe you're not passionate about it, but those are the kind of things to like take a leap out and try something new. You can always quit if you hate it, but I was fortunate enough to not hate it, to actually really like it, and to gain a lot of interest in it. But the internship turns into a career, and I feel like it's come a long way, but every month I feel like I'm like learning new things and getting better at my job.
Dang. And that's cool that you kind of built up your resume, and that actually kind of helps nowadays.
Definitely. What about you?
After a year-ish, what do you want to push in your industry right now?
Well, it's something that's super important within STEM. When I go to work and I go in my office, I see no women. And this is a big company, there's no women. There's no women anywhere. And like, even if there are, they're so underrepresented in managerial roles. And my manager and I have had conversations about this, because I've asked her about it. Because like,
Really?
I've done.
Oh, because your manager is
we talk about, she's female, and every manager I've had in marketing has been female. Because I feel like marketing, there's a lot of women in managerial roles in marketing. They have decent representation, I'd say, as an industry compared to STEM. I think the national average is, don't quote me on this, but it's like 19% or something.
Like, it's really low.
Or maybe even lower than that. It's so low. I've had these conversations with my manager, because it's weird. It's weird. I've got, when I was at PIH Health and I was in that industry, there was so many, like most of the managers I worked with were women, and they, to put it short, got shit done, like they were go-getters, and it is great. And I get into this industry, and like, I don't know, my company is very efficient. I'm not going to bash my company in any way, shape, or form, because I love my company. But I see the slacking, like I can see, and it's just like, I see my manager and I can tell she gets frustrated with it. And it's like, I can even see her and the people that she reaches out to when shit needs to get done are like the very few other women managers we have. And my manager, it was totally her brains, but it was really fun to be a part of. They put together her with the help of another manager over in our Massachusetts, the High Rail headquarters is. Oh, wow. They set up this thing with a company called Girls Inc., Girls Incorporated. They go and they take like a lot of women of color that come from underprivileged areas, and they try to get them interested in STEM, basically.
So it's like not an initiative, but
even with it, exactly. It's a program, and you go to schools that are very underfunded and stuff. They offer different kind of programs of all ages. It's K through 12, so there's all different kinds. So they put together this field trip to their facility, and it was like we got to work with their whole team too, and it was mostly women that I'm working with. And it was, putting together all kinds of activities, and there was all kinds of fun. There was like different stages. So the one was like, to kind of show like the cool stuff we do, like building a rocket with Legos, teaching them teamwork, and like get them interested. This is a really important time. You're going to go to college, and so many of these girls have no exposure to STEM. We went to private high schools, and like I had very limited exposure to engineering. I can imagine people who go to like these super underprivileged, no one, a lot of these girls that we even talked to, they had never seen like, a lot of this topic before. It was really cool to see it, and like they all, we kind of got their feedback, and it was so positive. And especially the juniors and sophomores who are going to be, starting to really think about college. It's very underrated of how much, it helps to have an interest going into college. And if we can put that in their mind and show them how cool it is, like it's like, a lot of our engineering friends in college, it's a very, very male-dominated thing. It's a very industry, and I would love to be a part of an effort to see that change. Yeah.
And do you think that's like specific to tech industry or engineering? For me, entertainment, like I feel like this is a lot of females. So do you think it's like specific to
Well, I think it's
A
just
STEM in what?
yeah,
You know,
it's
like, if
no
it's
in,
STEM
in
in-
different engineering. I mean, I see it firsthand in engineering, but I
Yeah.
know based off things I've read and that I've talked about with different
Mm.
people that it's also very prominent in tech. I know so many people that work in IT. I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you a single one of my girlfriends that work in IT. Like it's just
Yeah, you're right though. Like, cause I was tech in my internship of marketing.
Mhm.
A lot of females, but the other parts I feel like I saw more males.
The thing that I feel is missing within my role of like, and I hate that whole like work doesn't need to be family, but I want it to feel like I'm like going more than just like cubicle. I feel like so many of the women that work in the environment that I am in, if there were more women like them or there were more
Yeah.
people like them, it just
On top of getting more shit done,
yeah.
and also just representation.
Right, because it's also statistically proven that the companies that do have high percentages of women, and even within the STEM, within engineering, I know this because my manager was talking to me about studies within our competition and stuff. And Infineon, I think we have a managerial percentage is like it's under 25. They have goals because they want to increase efforts. It's
That's cool. At least
it's
they're
something to take
clear about
initiative
that.
on. Exactly, and it's something that's noticed. But
I'm so glad that I did this with you too, because like I've known you this whole time, right? But I feel like I didn't know 80% of it.
yeah,
And that's not because I didn't care and I didn't ask you. We just like hang out, like
we don't want to talk about work.
but it's cool to know what you're doing in daily life. NASA stuff was so cool.
See,
I didn't
yeah.
know that at all.
Yeah.
You should have like told me more.
Yeah,
about
I
that.
should flex that stuff more, but yeah, I'm glad to have shared it with you, man.
Thanks, man.